Okay, so this is a continuation of the Boogieman. So that's the Boogieman. He was hiding in probably definitely a white kid's cell trying to take his booty. Did he penetrate? I don't know. Maybe just the head. Hopefully not, for the kid's sake, because that would just ruin somebody's life. To be honest, and that's not even joking around. I mean, the rest of your life's ruined. You get sexually assaulted in prison, especially by the Boogieman. So, the Boogieman and Paul are both in DDU. So, I don't know if people would remember, some people would, that the doors were malfunctioning in DDU. They were just malfunctioning from the panel inside control, and the doors are just opening. And these are the most dangerous inmates in the state that are in the hole, are in isolation and been there for a while, and their doors are just swinging open. Some people that should not, never mind be in society, shouldn't even be allowed in population or out of their cell without cuffs and shackles on. You know, people like Fatih and the Boogieman, you know, and other guys that are very dangerous that have got sentenced to DDU for a long time for doing other shit, for killing people and for doing dangerous shit, assault, stabbing people, what have you. And they were just malfunctioning, and the doors just coming open, people just running out. You know, and you know, people were worried. It was getting to the point where people thought and I know this from guys that were coming out, because I was in Walpole right afterwards, that even other races, Muslims, white guys, Spanish guys, they all had a united front that if their doors came open when Fatih's did, Chase also, that they would, you know, group up, they would team up, so none of them got their bum cheeks taken. So that's just a story that I know is true, because I was there when guys came out of DDU afterwards. So they're in DDU together, the doors are malfunctioning, so they had to ship everybody out of DDU to holes all over the state, BRB, Concord, the Max, mostly up to Max in the RB. So Paul and the Boogieman end up in L3 together, which is a hole up the Max on the third level, and they end up in cells next door to each other. And the Boogieman's just one of them pieces of shit that if you know, he's just not a good guy, obviously, and if he knows you're a good guy, he wants to get on your bad side. He wants to fuck with you, because he's never going to see you. You know what I mean? Because he's never going to go to population. He's a PC. So he can say everything and anything he wants, and he's never going to see you. So, you know, so he's the one who'll just talk shit to you, and you just got to ignore it. Because what's the point of going back and forth with him? Because then you can't win with those things, because then these type of people, they're experts in mental warfare. You know, there's some people that are really experts in mental warfare, and will start tapping. They'll sleep when you're awake, and then wait till you're trying to sleep and stay up all night tapping on, because the sinks and the toilets are metal and they're connected, so they'll tap on your sink all night, just tapping, and you can hear that shit like really well, and trust me, it gets really fucking it'll start to drive you crazy after a while, and you can't sleep. You know, and these guys will really do everything they can to fuck with you mentally, and that's what it started to turn into. You know, Paul did his best to not feed into it, but this is what happened one day. Is, you know, he was talking shit. Paul was talking shit. And I don't know if the cops did this on purpose. I'm not 100% sure, but you know, the cops come and they pass the mail up. They throw the mail under your door, and this will happen time to time. Is they'll throw your neighbor's mail under your door accidentally. You know, because nobody's perfect, but then again, who the fuck knows? It could have been on purpose, and they threw Paul's mail under Boogieman's door. Or I think it was his girl, or I forget if it was, I think it was his girl, or a family member, or maybe even a couple pieces of mail. But you know, Boogieman got the address, and now it turned into, now it got really personal, obviously. And Paul and his father, which me and Paul really aren't getting along right now, and there's a reason for that, and I'm definitely not going to get into that. That's really no one else's business besides me and him. But Paul's father was a good guy. He was a good man. Paul Allen, Flamer, everyone used to call him. He had flaming red hair, and he had cancer. He had terminal cancer, and he ended up dying while Paul was in DDU, well, actually L3. And that was a really hard time for Paul, because he's all that was there. You know, he raised Paul, and that was tough. That was really hard. You know, Paul was doing a lot of time, and he lost his dad, and that was his man. That was his guy. They were like best friends, on top of father and son. And somehow, I don't know if it was through the letter or just because guys knew on the tier that Paul's father died, but Boogieman obviously started to use that to get to Paul, and started talking shit about Paul's dad and saying the worst things imaginable about Paul's dad. You know, he deserved to be dead. You know, just bad things. It doesn't matter. I don't need to get into what he said, but he just really started disrespecting Paul's family, and Paul's dad in particular, who was just a stand-up good guy. And nothing that Boogieman says really makes a difference. But when you're dealing with that tragedy, and this fucking PC piece of shit is talking shit about your dad, like he just obviously day after day just wanted to fucking hurt him, and just wanted to hurt him. So the doors up Sousa Baranowski are weird the way they close. But if you could throw something in the door, you could stop it from clicking. And if you could stop it from clicking, you could slide it open. So Paul got the idea in his head that he's going to throw something in the door every day and try to stop it from clicking. And he did that. He did it, and he prepared, and he said, "I'm going to get this motherfucker." You know, and he went warrior style, and he suited up, and he got some raises, and one day, finally, he threw something in that door, probably his uniform or something, and it kept the door from closing, kept the door from clicking, and they were doing showers, I believe. Either they were doing showers or they were taking them out for it. I'm not sure, but they were taking the Boogieman out. Paul fucking slid his door open and came out with them fucking razors. I think they were taped to his hand, tied to his hand somehow, and just started fucking slashing at that motherfucker with all the rage, all that fucking rage from all the fucking shit that fucking dirty piece of shit Skinner had been talking, and there was nothing stopping that motherfucker. I think the cops, I think he accidentally got a cop a little bit, and they charged. I'm not 100% sure, but they might have charged him with that, and he got smoked. He got hit with an on and after, and he sliced that motherfucker good. He sliced that boogeyman good. And he taught him a lesson. He taught that motherfucker a lesson. Like, you ain't gonna fucking talk shit to me, motherfucker. We're from Charleston. We're bred differently, man. Us, the way we grew up, like, we're bred different. Like, you ain't gonna. I would like to think if I was in the same situation, I would have done the same fucking thing. But he's a warrior for that. Word, I gotta give him that. On everything, I gotta give him that. He did what he had to do, and he got a lot of extra time for that. And I believe he didn't take it to trial. I think they just hit him off. But the boogeyman was, you know, he's such a piece of shit. Like, he was gonna go testify, write a statement, wrote up a statement to the DA, all that. That's how much of a maggot he is. So he's a rat on top of it. So that's the story. That's the whole story of why, what happened, and what caused it. So there you go. That's what I got. Okay, that's part 2 of Paul and Boogeyman story. Bye.